Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Office Hours with Michael Kitces. So I want to talk today about challenges that crop up when you get your first job as a financial advisor, and then you find out it's not actually such a good job after all. So this week's question comes from Jeremy, who asks, I just joined an advisory firm about 6 months ago, and I've realized since I got here that I'm not really comfortable with their investment philosophy, and there isn't much proper training or a career path. And so I'm wondering, is it too early for me to try to leave and find another job? Because I'm afraid that having such a short stint on my resume will hurt my future job opportunities. So a great question, Jeremy. I definitely feel your pain here. On the one hand, you're not comfortable with the investment philosophy and what they're delivering to clients, and the job feels like at a dead end. On the other hand, you don't want to leave your dead end job and then find out you can't get another one because now you're a job hopper. Unfortunately, the reality is life does happen. Like sometimes we do find ourselves in these challenging situations where it feels like you're stuck between a little bit of a rock and a hard place and you have to make a decision. So as someone who went through an early version of this, I had 3 jobs in my first 3 years getting started in the industry myself, trying to find the right fit. And frankly, based on what we see with hiring paraplanners and associate planners and the job opportunities at New Planner Recruiting, where we look at a lot of resumes and prospective candidates, let me give you a couple of suggestions about how to move forward. So first and foremost, if you're concerned that you're about how your firm implements investments or long-term career opportunities at the firm, I'd encourage you to see if you can solve the problem in the firm first. So in other words, the starting point would be fix the situation where you are, not leave it or basically run away from the problem. So let's start with investment philosophy. Now, you didn't say in your message exactly what the problem investment philosophy is. I'm going to guess in some way, shape, or form that it probably relates to the firm being more active in its investments in some manner that is not leading to good results, because frankly, that's the most common problem situation I see. So maybe the firm actively manages clients but is having trouble doing it well because every client's portfolio is different. Maybe they're using mutual funds or separate account managers that aren't performing well. Now, the reality is if you go to your firm owner and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with how we're managing investments for clients, or I think we're doing it wrong, this is not going to go well. Because now you're putting your firm owner on the defensive. If you suggest what they're doing is wrong or bad, even if it is, pushing the point that way is just going to make them want to defend themselves, because that's what any rational human being does. You feel attacked, you defend yourself. And the reality is you're the employee, they're the firm owner with the power in the relationship. So you can kind of see how this is going to turn out if you make it antagonistic. So my recommendation here is try to come up with a better alternative. Like literally a better way maybe to execute some of the client portfolios and suggest it to the firm. So if the firm keeps maybe using some managers that don't perform well and you've just come out of a client meeting where the client was complaining about the results, you can suggest, hey, the client are clearly unhappy with a couple of these large cap funds that haven't done well. What if we tried using a core and satellite approach where we can do some low cost ETFs for the core and then just use our better funds in the satellites? So now you aren't challenging the firm owner. You're responding to a client issue. It is something a client pointed out with a solution that would be a win for everyone. Or if the reality is that the firm manages each client's portfolio differently and is struggling to keep up with it all, you might suggest, what if we had rebalancing software to help us track and manage all the client models more effectively? Can I research some of the rebalancing software solutions and I'll bring to you the best 2 that I find and we can look and see if they might help? So now you're not criticizing the way portfolios are managed. You're offering to do some of the work to help find what should be a better solution for clients, for the firm, which perhaps implicitly recognizes the firm is currently not doing good, but without saying it, and focus on a proactive solution. And most firm owners I know would be happy if you come and say, hey, I want to do some work to bring a better solution to the table. And you know what? If they adopt your solution, you're going to get the firm to change to the better outcome that you wanted. So you simply put there's a lot of good that can be accomplished by starting a conversation with your firm owner using the words, what if? What if we did this? What if we tried it this way? Not why do we do it this way? Because that usually makes the other person want to defend themselves. Now, there's nothing wrong with a true why question. Like I really want to understand why we're doing something. But the problem so often is that when we say, why do we do it this way? It's pretty much a veiled way of saying, I think it's dumb we do it this way. And that does not lead to a positive conversation and a change. It leads to defensiveness. So if you want to bring about change, start with, what if we did it this other way? Not, why do we do it the way that we do? Now, similarly, when it comes to career opportunities, the best way to clarify what the long-term career opportunity is with the firm is to ask what the long-term career opportunity is with the firm. Start the conversation. I'm constantly amazed at how often I hear advisors complain that the firm owner where they work hasn't given them a career track. And I say, well, I mean, what happened when you raised this conversation with the firm owner? Like, crickets chirp, it's silent. Like, oh, well, we've never had that conversation. So look, if you have the conversation, you don't like the answer, that's one thing. If you've never taken upon yourself to initiate the conversation, that's on you. So initiate the conversation. Now, the reality at most smaller advisory firms, and smaller in the context here, I'm going to say like under 10 employees, which is almost all advisory firms. The truth is, the firm owner has no idea what the career track is. They don't know. They've never had a firm as large as what they're hoping to grow it to in the coming years. It's one thing when you're in a large firm that has 50 people and 10 of them have already gone through a career track and the 11th person comes in and says, what's the career track? You'd say, well, here's how it works around here. Here's how we've done it with all the rest. When you're the first one going down this track, and if you're a pair planner or an associate planner in a firm, even with as many as 5 to 10 employees, you may be the first person that ever actually is going to move up the line in a career track. They literally don't know what the track is because they've never gone down this path. It's you got to recognize it's a first time for the firm owner as much as it may be a first time for you. So my suggestion is to start the conversation with your boss, with your firm owner, and tell him or her that you'd like to understand the opportunities within the firm as it continues to grow. And the continues to grow part is really important because it emphasizes that this is not about this isn't about like getting more of your share from a fixed pie. This is about the opportunities as the firm gets bigger and more opportunities abound. Because trying to get more from a pie that isn't growing is hard. Trying to get a small slice of a growing pie, everyone benefits. It works much better. So I'd suggest that you say you'd like to schedule some time to talk about long-term opportunities with the firm as it continues to grow and what might be possible. And then schedule some time to have that conversation. Now, again, recognize because your firm owner probably has no idea what the opportunity is because they haven't fully fleshed it out because the growth hasn't happened yet and they may have never run a firm at that size. Realize there's probably not going to be an answer at first. So don't make this a win-lose situation. Put them on the spot like, I need an answer now or I'm leaving. Tell them you'd like to know what the opportunities can be with continued growth and that you want to revisit it at your next review. And that gives the firm owner some time to think about possibilities as well. Start moving towards a vision of the firm and figuring out how you fit into it. Now, unfortunately, sometimes you'll try to start these conversations and they really don't go anywhere. The firm owner really does not want to change or improve on an investment process. Maybe it's problematic, but they're comfortable, they're used to it. It's worked decently so far. Remember, they could afford to hire you. It's not completely broken, no matter how negative you think it is. And maybe they really can't articulate a career path or an opportunity for you. Or worse, perhaps there really is no growth and there aren't going to be opportunities. Because the truth is that a firm that isn't growing, there's very little chance there will ever be a career track. Because if the firm's not growing, every additional dollar for you is a dollar less for the owner. That is not appealing from the owner's perspective. When the firm is growing, it's more dollars for everyone. Hey, we grew a bunch. I'm going to make a little more. I'm going to pay you a little more. You're going to get a promotion. We're going to hire more people. Everyone feels like they're winning. That's one of the primary reasons why I suggest if you want to find a firm with career opportunities, find a firm that's growing. Yeah, it's literally the growth that brings the career opportunities. So what do you do when it's really a dead end? So first, I think you have to clarify what the problem is because there's a big difference between a firm that just doesn't have good long-term career track opportunities and a firm where you are not comfortable with how clients are invested or taken care of. I mean, if you're really uncomfortable with how the firm handles its recommendations to clients and they're not willing to budge, I think you need to leave. Like, start looking now, leave. Life is too short to live in a firm that doesn't do right by its clients. And sadly, though, those advisors are out there that don't do good work for their clients. Now, on the other hand, if the reality is it's a fine firm and they're good people, but you just don't think there's a good long-term fit or any long-term opportunity, eventually you're going to need to leave for the next opportunity, but there's no hurry. I'd actually encourage you, take your time and prepare yourself so that the next job really is a good one. So finish your experience requirement on your CFP if you haven't already, or start studying for your CFP if you haven't already. Build up your savings so that you can afford to make a transition if there's maybe a little gap in income, or save enough so that you even have a fallback where you can go launch your own advisory firm if you want to. That's actually one of the biggest cautions we warn advisors that come next to IPN to start their own firm. Build up your savings and a financial cushion first. It gives you more choices. We talk about this as fiscal prudence for our clients. It applies for us in our career tracks as well. So don't quit your job sooner than you need to because you're not sure it's going to work out well in 5 or 10 years. It's one thing if you got ethical issues. It's another if you're just saying, I'm not sure what my long-term opportunity is. You got a little time to figure this out. Now, I know for some of you, the challenge at this point is like literally how do you search for a new job while you're at your current one? Because you usually don't want your current firm owner to find out because they may or may not push you out if they find out you're getting ready to leave. So a couple of tips here. Number one, clarify what you're actually legally allowed to do. This means double check. Do you have an employment contract? And what does it say? Does it have a non-compete? Does it have a non-solicit? Non-compete means you literally can't work for another competitor. Non-solicit means you can work for another firm, but you can't solicit any of the existing clients to come with you. Now, the good news from the employee perspective is that a lot of non-competes are unenforceable. Many states just outright don't allow them. Sadly, a lot of firms still make employees sign them, even if they're not enforceable, because not everybody looks it up to find out. So if you've got one or you're not sure, find a lawyer in your state. You need one in your state that knows employment law in your state. Pay them a couple bucks if you have to review the agreement and find out if it's an option for you and what your legal choices are. Don't get yourself in trouble unnecessarily. Number two, update that resume and start sending it out. Now, clearly you don't want to post it to open job sites for employers to come find you because then it's out there and that could come back to your boss as well. So you're going to have to be a little bit more proactively in looking for the job opportunities. So you can go to the relevant job boards in our industry. CFP Board's job board, FPA has one, NAPFA has one. We have a job opportunities listing at New Planner Recruiting. So find jobs that are of interest and apply to those jobs. And just note in your cover letter, your current firm is not aware that you're looking to make a change and that you would appreciate discretion. And people who are hiring understand what that means. I mean, if they're interested in you, they don't want to screw up the deal by screwing up the relationship with you by accidentally outing you to your boss while they're evaluating you. So they will do their best to be discreet. But also, make sure you don't out yourself, which means don't apply from your work address, your work email address. Make sure your resume has your cell phone or a personal number and your personal email address. You'd be amazed the number of people that I get that say hey, I'm looking for a job and my boss doesn't know. Let me know if there's interest. And they send it from their work email address. And what am I supposed to do? Hit reply and say, I found 3 great jobs for you and just hope your boss isn't looking at the email at the time. So people will try to be discreet, but if you go and put your firm's phone number on your resume and the potential hire calls your firm, that's on you, not them. So do your own diligence to make sure that you're not putting yourself out there in a way that's likely to bring it to light for everyone. Number 3, join a professional association. It can be FPA, NAPFA, IMCA, AICPA's PFP section, whatever is a good fit for your firm and your role. But be in an association and be involved and volunteer. It's not just about giving back to your profession, which is important, but the reality is being involved in professional associations is a great place to find a job because the relationships you're going to build with people at other firms, with people you work with as volunteers on committees, are the ones you can network through to find the next opportunity, and they're likely to want to help you because you've got a relationship with them. And the good news is that you don't even have to explain to your boss why you're going out to something. It's it's an association event. And that's what you do. You just might happen to find your future boss there as well. Now, again, I'm not saying this is the only reason to join an association, but again, it's a powerful opportunity to network and find future opportunities that I find a lot of young planners tend to overlook. And that means invest in yourself. If your firm won't pay for your joining FPA or NAPFA, one of those, Pay for yourself. It's an investment in your network and your long-term future. Now, getting back to Jeremy's original question, is this short stint job going to label you as a job hopper and hurt your ability to get a future job? So the good news is I don't think it has to, or at least not when it happens once. And here's how I would explain it. When you're interviewing for new jobs, I would say, look, when I got my first job, I didn't really understand the industry that well. And I didn't even know what questions to ask really about the firm's philosophy and its opportunities. But now I know. Lesson learned on me. I picked a bad firm out of the gate, and now I'm looking for a new opportunity. The reality, again, most advisors out there know there are other advisors that do some bad stuff. No one's going to begrudge you because you got hired into a bad firm and you didn't realize it until you got there. The firms are out there. Unfortunately, sometimes they're pretty good at sales. You don't realize it until it's too late. No one's going to hold a grudge against you for it. However, that excuse only works once. Because in your next job, you better do your due diligence on the firm and their investment philosophy and their planning philosophy and what they do. Ask the questions you need to ask to make sure you don't do this to yourself again. And remember, an interview is two ways. They interview you and you interview them. So ask the questions you need to ask so you don't end up with this problem again. Because if it happens repeatedly, it's going to be an issue. Now you're either a job hopper who isn't serious about any particular job in the industry, or worse, you're not a candidate who's serious enough to do basic research and due diligence on your firm. And you know what I would worry about at that point as a business owner? If you can't take the time to ask questions and research your next job opportunity for yourself and look out for yourself, how confident can I be that you're going to pay attention to the details that matter for our clients? So, Jeremy, if you need to make a change because you didn't get the right fit the first time out, it's okay. I wouldn't freak out about it. Make the change, but use it as a learning opportunity about how to do better due diligence so that you get better the next time. And be candid with the new firm. That's why you left. It's an okay reason, at least the once, maybe twice. But at some point, you got to take responsibility for yourself for making that interview two ways and making sure you really ask the questions you need to ask to find the right fit. So I hope that helps a little, provide some food for thought about what to do if it's time to leave your advisory firm and find a new job. Always start with trying to resolve it at your current firm first. I know sometimes they're hard conversations and it feels awkward, but start there. See if you can make it work there. And if it doesn't work, then it's time to look. So this is Office Hours with Michael Kitces. Normally 1 p.m. East Coast times, but I was all out of whack today with travel and the blizzard and the rest. But here we are now. Thanks for joining us and have a great day, everyone.